without having anything more of anything beyond what you have right this moment, how can abundance help you to have the dream life that you would dream and love to have? Well, I'm going to answer that question. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but I'm going to invite first Kathy to come and join me for this conversation. And we're going to have a conversation here. Before we start our conversation, let's introduce ourselves. Now, I'm Non-Monogamous Mark, and Kathy is?
I'm Kathy. I am the executive director and co-creator of Badass Red Dress Society. And we have some other businesses that we're working on as well. But right now there's ECNM Lifestyles Association and BARDS, or Badass Red Dress Society, are our two main focuses.
And Kathy and I are lovers and husband and wife and partners, and we keep each other thriving in our lives.
We do.
So let's go back to that question, and I'm just going to start out here because, you know, this question is talking about Kathy, which again, this is totally off the cuff. Kathy had no clue what the topic was until she heard it from me when I'm making this video. But this whole concept of abundance, and the thing is about the abundance, is not having any more than what we have right now, but yet how can abundance then help us to have the dream life that we have?
Well, abundance really is a mindset more than a physical acquisition of things. The abundance mindset allows us to understand that there is plenty out there of anything and everything that we want, and it will take the work of us connecting with the universe, connecting with ourselves, in order for us to attract the abundance of whatever it is, whether it's money, whether it's love, whether it's relationship, whether it's anything, any physical, material thing, anything that you desire. There is an abundance out there for you. And if you have the mindset that it is out there for you, then you will attract it into your life.
And so abundance, let's instead of really honing in on abundance for a moment, let's talk about scarcity, which is the opposite of abundance, or the lack of. And so one of the things that when you and I met is that, when we first got together, is that I was always frantic and stressed out because I never got enough done in a day. I never had enough hours in a day. But see, the truth of the matter is, that's how I lived my whole life. And I had that pattern established in my life that there's just never enough time to do the things that I need to do. Mm-hmm. And that was like, because I always felt like I had a lack of time.
Right.
And then there's a scarcity of time.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt that I had an abundance of time.
Right.
And so that mindset of having a lack of time and a scarcity of time, I was just constantly stressed about time.
You were.
and yet, do I have a minute more today than I did then?
No.
No more time than I did then.
No. Time is constant.
There's not a single thing that I can do to create another minute of time in my life. Not even a second of time.
Yeah.
It's my mindset, and I had to shift. We look for things outside of ourselves. Mm-hmm. I look for, like, how can I manage my time better? How can I prioritize my things better in my life? And all of these things that I spent my life doing, mm-hmm. in order to try to have more time. Yeah. But could I ever add a single minute to my day?
No, it is a constant, and there truly is only so much time available. But it is how you think about it, mm-hmm. and how you approach time overall in your life.
Mm-hmm. And so that's where then I started to think more about, and I started to do a shift. Mm-hmm. And my shift was, I've got an abundance amount of time. I've got time to enjoy my life. Whereas there's been times before you and I ever met, when I was working 80 to 110 hours a week, I did that for 15 years. Built a successful business, but there was never enough time, and I didn't enjoy myself.
Right.
I thrived on my success in my business, but overall in my life, I was stressed out and upset and unhappy, and it wasn't like we talked about in yesterday's video, it wasn't a good feeling.
Right.
It was a negative feeling. And so this whole thing with me and time was, when you and I met, it wasn't a good feeling, and did not produce good feelings in my life. And I still work on this today, because it's really just been in the last year that I started to embrace the fact that I have an abundance of time. And it's just by shifting that mindset then that I start to realize I've got time to have fun. I've got time to enjoy myself. I've got time to do what I want to do.
And really, when you come to that shift in your perception and in your thinking, it frees you from that binding that you feel when you look at life through scarcity, whether it's scarcity of time, scarcity of money, scarcity of relationships, scarcity of anything. Scarcity has a way of binding you and restricting you, whereas when you start having that mindset of abundance, it frees you and opens you up to understand there is more of everything in how you approach it. So while we may not be able to create actual more time, we can create how we utilize our time, how we enjoy our time, how we connect in our time, and use the time that we do have to thrive.
Okay, but what you just said, so we can create how we utilize, that's the stuff that I had done my whole life. I'd always tried to look at my priorities and all those kinds of things, when in reality what I needed to do is I needed to make a change within me. And I needed to make that change of understanding that I've got an abundant amount of time to do the things that I'm going to need to do to enjoy my life. And that's the same thing with another area of lack that people commonly have. And I liked what you said about that it becomes something that binds us. And it ends up limiting us and restricting us, because I was focused on not having enough time. And like we talked about in the video yesterday, that when you focus on a negative thought or something you don't want, then you really make that to grow and become bigger in your life. And as you do that, then it doesn't become a situation where you end up with what you want. You have a situation, you end up with more of what you don't want. And the more I focused on not having enough time, then the more I realized I was creating a situation of never having enough time, and because I just kept bringing more of that into my life. But when I changed my process of thought of feeling like I have an abundance of time, that's when I started to feel good. That stress went away, and I started to feel good. Like I have all the time that I need. I have all the time that I want. And then, so talking about that, another area that's really a lack and not an abundance for many people, and that's money. People say, oh, I just don't have enough money. Well, and yesterday we talked about, and as I've talked about before, the three things that are kind of our GPS system is our thoughts, our feelings, and our words. Now, how's that feel? I don't have enough time. Or, I don't have enough money. Those aren't words, and they aren't thoughts that feel good.
That's right.
And so, instead, really just doing this shift, because I'm never going to be able to take and create another second or another minute in my day. And so I shift my mindset saying I've got an abundance of time to enjoy doing the things that I'm going to enjoy doing, and I'm going to enjoy every day, not being stressed out because I don't have enough time. And so the same thing with money. Now, fortunately, the fun thing is that yes, we can attract to ourselves more money so that we can have more money tomorrow or the next year or next week or next month than what we have today. And that's an exciting thing. It's not like time where it's so limited. But the only way that we can attract that money to us is by thinking in terms of abundance. And you commented about when we think of terms of lack or scarcity, that we bind ourselves. And so that's how it works. And we've been able to talk with a lot of people that they make a lot of money and stuff. And it seems like that those people, they didn't always make the money they do now, but they focused on their abundance.
They did.
Before they had the millions of dollars that they have, they focused on their abundance, not their lack of, and not their scarcity of.
And not even necessarily their capacity or ability to make money. It truly is shifting your mindset that money is available and that money is out there. And that as you turn inward and you connect with yourself and you connect with the universe, then the pathways open up for you to lead you towards what you want. And if that is millions of dollars, then as you move along your pathway, you will be led one step, one day at a time towards your millions.
You know, you just brought to my mind part of the process that we ourselves have been through. And it was just a month ago, in the month of December, that we took a leap of faith and we spent money, a lot of money for us to have spent, in purchasing a course. And in the purchasing of that course, it was the courses to really understand and know more about this world of digital marketing. And the course is called the Funnel Hackers course. And it was an expensive course. In fact, it was the most expensive course that I've ever purchased. But we went ahead and we took a leap of faith and we purchased that course. And the interesting thing then is that it was like the next day that I had this thought about a business that we're aware of. And I thought, gee, I wonder if I could create do some marketing work for them that would be able to pay for the whole course. Okay, so that was the first thought that I had, and the second thought then that came right after that was, wait a minute, let's look at the abundance that's here. And suddenly, Kathy and I started to talk about this marketing idea that I had. And a whole business unfolded for us that is in a combination of my entrepreneurial skills and your professionalism and knowledge and expertise in early childhood learning.
Exactly.
And now we're creating a business, and you're going off another week. You're going off to Las Vegas to attend the International Franchise Association conference, and so that you can learn all about franchising. So that then we have a friend that we've connected with in Seattle that has helped us also. He's franchises many businesses, and so he's helping us to give us some really good advice as well. And so the way that a business can start to grow then through franchising is amazing. Where instead of us having one location that we're building, then we can have an abundance of locations all over the United States by creating opportunities for other individuals.
Right.
And it's phenomenal. It's amazing. And so all of that came because we took this leap of faith, and so now we're applying all of the entrepreneurial skills that I have and all of the skills and knowledge that you have in your profession, and we're providing a service to parents, their children, and also to preschool and child care centers that has not been done before the U.S., but yet a service that is very highly needed, and we're just really excited about that. We don't want to go into detail about that, but my point here right now is to really just say that all of that came from a mindset that we established of abundance, not lack of, and not scarcity.
Right.
And so your comment was that when you have this abundant mindset, that things start to flow in your way.
They do.
With money, yeah, it only takes one good idea to make a fortune.
That's right.
That's all it takes. And
That's all
so
it takes.
that when you have an abundant mindset, then things will start to come to you. When you don't have an abundant mindset, then you put barriers, limitations, roadblocks. Now, how about if we apply have an abundant mindset to sex? Yeah, we're going to talk about this. So applying an abundant mindset to sex, what does that mean to you?
Well, for me, what it means is having the freedom to enjoy sex in whatever way or with whomever I choose. And part of the relationship that Mark and I create is a relationship where we support each other in having the kind of sex life that each of us desires to have without restrictions and limitations. And so as we move forward in our life, we are open to however that may play out.
Now, and of course, having just moved here in Ventura, 3 months ago, and one of the things then that, starting to create new relationships and what have you, that you really have said that you really want, because you're a bisexual woman, and so you really want to have that relationship with another woman.
I would.
And so that relationship that you would like to have hasn't formulated yet, but yet, if you have a scarcity and a mindset of a lack of women out there to have a relationship with, what would that do for you compared to, and how would that feel, I guess, compared to the idea that, hey, there's an abundance of relationships for me out there to have, they'll come my way when the time's right.
Right.
What's the difference between those two?
Well, really what it comes down to is how do I feel? How do I approach my relationships? If I approach them from a standpoint of, oh, I'm so frustrated, I can't find the woman I'm looking for, I keep going out on dates and they just never materialize, and I've gone on OKC and there's just nobody in my area that's either appealing, or there's just such a small pool to look at and to connect with, then I'm putting those barriers in my own way of scarcity, saying, well, there's just not enough women out there. And so what's going to keep showing up in my experience is there's not enough women out there. And the women that do come to me are not going to be the matches that I want, because I'm not approaching this from a positive standpoint in my
standpoint of abundance.
Right. And so if I have that abundant mindset and I recognize that there are thousands, if not millions of women in this world, whether they're here in Ventura or halfway across the world, you never know who you're going to connect with. And instead of limiting my experience, is to go ahead and put myself out there and trust that it will happen. And I know that it will happen. And I feel good in the journey of it happening, and not focus on the end result of getting the relationship, but enjoy myself along the way every single day, whether I have my relationship or not. And soon that relationship will come.
So I guess what we're trying to say is, without having anything more in your life than what you have right this minute, that abundance and the whole concept of abundance can help you to have everything that you want in your life, and to help you to have the dream life that you want to have. Because whether that be financially, or with your health and fitness, or whether it be with your relationships, maybe relationships at work and professionally, or your just friendships, or your love life, or your sex life, in any of those areas, if you just don't limit yourself and don't restrict yourself to saying there's just not enough, or I just don't have, but instead of start really thinking about how there's an abundance. And when you start thinking about how there's abundance, so this is how you know if you are thinking abundantly or not. If the thought feels really good, then you're thinking abundantly. If the thought doesn't feel so good, then your thoughts are of scarcity and limitation, and I don't have enough of that, and so those thoughts don't feel so good.
Right.
But when your thoughts then feel good, then those are usually abundant thoughts, and that'll help you to be on that path and on that journey to having the dream life that you wish to have.
That's right.
And so,
Like we have.
anything else then you want to say about abundance?
It rocks.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for joining us today, and I hope you're enjoying the videos that we're doing together. And in the meantime, if you want to know more about BARDS or ECNM Lifestyles Association, click on that link down below in the description, and we'll see you at the next video.